Hello, amazing ladies, and welcome to the HerStory podcast. I'm your host, Kylie King, and I'm so excited to be joined by the amazing Erin McCoy today from Amari Photography. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Kylie. It's great to talk to you.
So, we're coming into the silly season. How are you feeling at the moment?
It's so crazy at the moment. So I haven't started the Christmas break yet, although we're only a few days away from Christmas. I've still got so much to do, but I'll get there.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
So, other than that, let's start by telling the listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah. So my name's Erin. Obviously, I have Amari Photography and also Joy Revolution. So Joy Revolution's a coaching business. I do holistic coaching and mind-body practitioner work. And Amari Photography, I do portrait photography in Blue Mountains in Sydney. And so that's with families, kids, newborns, and business.
Beautiful.
And
That's
events, sorry.
awesome.
Yeah.
And events too.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Look at you. How do you feel juggling both the businesses?
Yeah. So I've really just stepped right off the pedal for the coaching, and now I'm just focusing on photography. So as well as you can imagine, and I know you know, like with kids and a silly season, it's hard enough to find time just to do one project and one passion. So yeah.
So what got you started into, I guess what moved you now? You said you've taken the pedal off the coaching and now you've really gone into photography. So what got you started into photography?
Yeah, so I've always loved photography. So I got my first camera when I was 8. And it's been a really big passion. I've always loved photographing people. And so I got my first SLR like a long time ago, to show how old I am, but about 25 years ago. And I've loved it ever since. But, you know, when you're growing up and people have ideas of what you're going to be and what a certain profession is. And the photographers that we had at school and that I met, they were all male. I didn't meet any female photographers, and I know there's a lot around now, but it just never kind of seemed to be a profession that I could join. It just seemed to be a bit of a pipe dream, not an actual, realistic goal. And so just, yeah, this year I thought I'm just going to do it. I've been meaning to do it for a long time. I'm just going to do it.
And that's because you not only run businesses, but you're also a nurse. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, yeah, I was a registered nurse, and I've done lots of things in education and training and different roles. Yeah. But what complicates it for me the last few years, quite a few years, is I'm a carer I've got 2 kids with disabilities and a younger one as well. And this year has been particularly challenging because I've got my son's had his leg rotation surgery. So he's been in a wheelchair for months, and he's also been homeschooling. So I don't know how you do that, Kylie. That hats off to you. I don't know how you do that all the time because it was rough. And trying to juggle everything. Yeah, I don't know how you do it. So that's taken my focus. That's been something. So my oldest son now is 11, nearly 12. So it's been a long time where I've not been career focused. I've been doing some business things here and there, but yeah, when I had a kid with special needs, with disability, that's when my career kind of just went.
Wow. So you've gone from like the health, you're still with the health, into coaching, now into photography.
Yeah, and I've had a few other stops along the way, including being a career advisor, which is quite interesting because I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up, but but I'm really enjoying the photography. So
cool. So what motivates you to get out of bed every morning and do the business? Because as you said, you've got a lot on, and it's really hard to juggle everything as a businesswoman, and then, as well as working, and then there's kids and homeschooling and looking after everyone else really but yourself. What motivates you to keep going, okay, I'm going to get up and have a really good day of photography?
yeah, I think it's definitely, when someone passes away, or when it's just basically the passage of time. So you have your children, like I do newborn photos, and I just really cherish my photos because they're newborn for such a short time, and you just capture it. And people who've passed away, those photos, I might have just a handful of photos, but they're so special and important to me. It's just my way to, I guess, snapshot in time, because I feel like time just passes way too quickly. And I like to be able to hold that moment forever. So that's my really big passion with photography. Also, I find with portraits especially that people have like a negative kind of view of themselves and how they look. And everyone's self-conscious. Like, I don't meet many people who aren't self-conscious. And so I think that I just love making people feel better about themselves when they see their photos and think, wow, I look like that, or I look like that. I really love that. I love that about it. Because we all have plenty of days where we wake up like feeling terrible, looking terrible, with bed hair, and just not feeling great about ourselves. So I guess, to help people have something that they can look at and feel great about themselves.
That's beautiful. And I love that, keeping that moment, because newborns, like, they go so quickly, like so quickly, like that scrunch is gone so quickly. And it's so good to keep, a photo of them to remember how small they were.
Yeah. I've got mine from my little one, and I just love it. I look at it every day, and it just, I can't believe that much time has passed.
Goes so quickly. So what has been your biggest challenge so far with your business?
Yeah, it's definitely putting myself out there. So I'm sure lots of women can relate to this, but it's, I guess, the whole starting it up, but then also putting yourself out and putting your hand up and saying, I can do that. I'll be great at that. And just keeping that momentum and keep pushing yourself forward. But it's really the only way it's going to start, isn't it? It's the only way the ball gets rolling. But it is, for people, especially like me, who I guess do struggle with some imposter syndrome and I haven't grown up the most confident person. So then putting myself out there is difficult, because, and I know obviously from coaching and talking to lots of people that lots of people face this as well, but you are putting your things out there for then people to judge and to open up to people's opinions. And that can be quite scary in any field, I think. But when you're working for yourself, you've only got yourself. So it's like when you're working as an employee, it's quite a different thing than when you're putting yourself out there as a sole trader. So
no, that's very true, because you have to wear all the hats. As an employee, you're like, this is this is the role that I have and this is what I do. But when you're a business, it's like, I have to do the marketing and the accounts and all of that fun stuff, and then of course, stepping forward and going, this is what I do and why you should come and buy from me. Very much like really putting yourself out and go, okay, I'm good at what I do. So no, as you mentioned, imposter syndrome does come up quite a bit, and it can be a really big challenge to overcome. So if we flip the coin, then what's been your biggest achievement so far?
So I've had two highlights that I've just loved. So obviously I haven't been in business that long, but one was I did a Christmas event that was really lovely. It was a Spark Joy campaign where in Lane Cove, this group called Connected, they connect the children of Lane Cove with the elderly and vulnerable people in Lane Cove, because they're feeling, lonely and isolated over Christmas. And they put them together by making artwork and then taking them to the people in the community. And I just thought that was so beautiful. And the children were so excited to do it and do something lovely. And then, of course, photographing you for your upcoming exciting project. That was a real highlight. That was really good. And you're just a joy to work with. It was lovely.
I really had a lot of fun too, because generally I'm one of the people, I know lots of women are probably the same. I hate photos of myself. I don't feel comfortable, and I always find it a bit weird to do, and also get them back, because I'm like, because you're so critical of yourself. Same with your business, so critical. So then you're looking at it and you're like, oh my gosh, like I could have done this, or I could have held my breath in here, or I could have done this. But you made it such a lovely, pleasant experience. We went somewhere completely different, which I absolutely loved. We went to the street art in Katoomba. So if anyone's listening, you haven't checked it out, go and check it out, because I didn't even know it existed until Erin was like, this is where we're going. But you just made it, even like the poses and stuff, you made it just a breeze. And those photos, I sent them off to the TV people, because they wanted a headshot, and they were like, your photos are gorgeous. And I'm like, why, thank you. This is where I got them done. So like, go over this.
Wow.
So
thank you. I didn't know that. That's lovely to hear.
No, that's all good. They literally just recently emailed me about it. So it was good, because I'd realized too, and if anyone's listening, most people have a business that are listening, check when your last headshot was done. because my last headshot was 5 years ago, easily 4 or 5 years ago. So then when I had all these exciting opportunities come up and they want a headshot, I'm sending them a headshot, you know, early 30s Kylie, not, you know, business mum of lots of children Kylie now. So I would recommend everyone that's listening to go and check your headshots and go get them redone, or your photos, because we change. I was using, you know, back when my hair was red, it's now brown, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Like we change. We need to make sure that our photos are changing. So
yes, I think that's so true. And that's something I've noticed across the board is a lot of people have really kind of antiquated photos, maybe that they're not contemporary with who they are now. And so then if you saw them online and then you met them in real life, you might not even recognize them, which isn't great for, you know, networking and business opportunities. And also a lot of people just have selfies, which isn't great. And then if you apply for a podcast or you got a media thing, you can't really use just a selfie, low res selfie. So yeah, I think it is really important. And also that kind of having it across different platforms, the same photo. I don't know if you've noticed that, but that really helps as well. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it is, because especially things like your display picture, like if you have them across different platforms, people can easily recognize who you are. They can see who it is, and it's already creating that connection in their mind. But yeah, so go and update your photos. It is important, especially because, you know, business and putting yourself out there marketing wise is great, but people want to know who's behind the business. They want to know who they're buying from. Like we're really starting to go back into having those authentic connections and wanting to know who people are, what they're doing, why they do their business. So having fresh photos that show that is so important.
Yeah. And I think it definitely also builds the know, like, and trust factor. You know, we're all always hearing about that. And I think that when you see an authentic photo of someone that's recent and that you can identify with, or you know in real life, that really helps to build that. Yeah.
So in other words, go get photos.
Yeah.
Photos.
I'm biased, but
go get photos now. So is there any advice you wish you were given when you went into business?
Yeah, I think definitely the most important thing, I think, which is something that you do really well, is getting people around you who support you, who want the best for you, who are going to keep you accountable, give you some momentum. So whatever group that is, joining a group. So obviously we're in a group, the Australian Ladies in Business that you founded, and the Penrith and Blue Mountains Ladies group, networking group, and they're both excellent. And also I've got my own small group and I'm part of another one. I find that they're invaluable just to help you check in, to float ideas, what's working, what's not. Is there any collaborations? Is there anything that I should know about? Like people tell me, oh, have you joined this group? Oh, have you, you know, looked at that? Have you checked out this? Do you know there's this grant? Like just, I guess, to help you keep your ear to the ground, but also to keep you accountable and to feel connected and supported. Because it's really easy, especially being a photographer, which is a sole thing. I'm not in an office like I used to be with lots of other people, to feel a bit isolated and you've got so many other priorities in life. Sometimes business gets a bit sidelined because there is so much to do. But when you feel like you're part of something, and next week you've got to talk to someone and say how you went with that project, that keeps you accountable and just keeps that momentum. And I think that that's the most important thing, is feeling like you're part of something, a sense of belonging, but also to keep that momentum and to keep moving. Yeah, and to plan ahead.
I think I'm a big believer in groups, as you mentioned. I have the two there, but I really think it's important in how you utilize the groups too. And like you just mentioned, it's good for advice and asking questions and bouncing off ideas. But I'm finding we're getting a lot of people that come into a group and go, I'm just going to spam all my shit and hope that people buy stuff.
Yeah.
Just want to make it really important. We get sold to all the time, every day. We're getting sold to, you know, on the media, when we're driving, on the radio, all of that sort of stuff we're getting sold to. So people want that connection, as we mentioned earlier, like with the photos, they want that connection. They want to build that like, no trust in who they're buying from. They then don't want you to go into a group and just have people spamming them.
Yeah.
And what I find is the biggest people that do the most self-promotion of business, they don't connect. They don't engage. So they're not even engaging on those types of posts themselves, but they're feeling that those posts are a good marketing strategy, which just feels so weird to me. So being in ALIBI is awesome, but also, and other groups are awesome, but make sure you're actually contributing effectively and actually going, hey, I'm going to comment on something and not try and just throw shit to a wall of my marketing everywhere and hoping something sticks. So, because it's all about engagement. And if you're not willing to engage, why do you expect others are going to be willing to engage? I think is really important. So, and I know you don't do that, Erin. I'm not saying you do that. I'm just with groups, when you're engaging in them, be thoughtful on what you want to get out of it. At the end of the day, everything's a return on investment, right? As a business owner, where everything isn't what's the biggest ROI. So when I'm communicating in a group, whether it's one of the ones I run or when it's, one of the ones I sneak out into other ones, it's all about, if I'm putting my time into this group, I want to put it in wisely so I'm getting a good return on investment. Whether that's people coming over and seeing me, like, for me to put up a post answering a question rather than spamming my crap, what am I getting out of it? Like, is it going to be a better return on my investment that people are going to be like, hey, she can actually help me, I'm going to come over and check her stuff out? Or she just spammed me with shit, I'm now not going to refer her. Which is, you know what? And it's honestly, I know it's probably not the best thing to do, but that's what I do. If someone spams a group a lot and someone says, I'm looking for a photographer, I'd go, Erin is great. I've used her services. I can see that she participates, and she's not all about just spamming. Then of course I'd recommend you rather than someone that just comes in and
And I think, like you say, because we are kind of fielding so much kind of marketing all the time, and social media is like I think I read the other day that on average we're on there 2 hours a day. So if you're on there 2 hours a day, and I know in business it's much longer, but, say you're on there for 2 hours a day, then that's 2 hours you're getting sold to. So you don't really want to get sold to in a group. And I don't mean that like it's give and take. Obviously you are there for a reason, but you're building relationships, like you say. You're looking at ways that you can have collaborations where it's win-win. It's not like, oh, do you have this problem? Well, I've got this solution. You should buy it. When are you going to buy it? And that pressure sell. So I did sales training, and it was a pressure sell. They taught you how to pressure sell. I'm sure you've done it as well. And they try and get you to say as many yeses as you can. And there's all these tactics. And I don't think that has any place, as you say, in a networking group. It's really about meeting people where they're at and how we can support each other to all succeed. And so I also find, and rarely, but I also find sometimes people can be a bit competitive. And I think that's really unfortunate because, a rising tide rises all boats. So there's no reason that you can't refer work to someone that's also in your, zone of genius, in your industry. You can't work with them on collaborations. There's lots of opportunities. But I think sometimes people get a bit narrow-minded and they just think, oh, they do the same thing as me, or maybe, there's only this many clients, and which is not really the case. But I
agree. I think, just going out there, and you never know, you're giving business to someone else, they're potentially giving business to you. So, and you will have I find like, so the networks, you will, once you get out there and you learn about different businesses too, and you learn what they're doing and you take bits and pieces from everyone. That's what I've noticed is, you meet a whole bunch of businesses and you see like things that they're doing well, and you take little bits of it to then put into your own business. I don't mean steal. I don't mean intellectual property theft. I mean, just like ways they do certain things. So I think it's really important. As you said, I think we're really moving away from that hard sell marketing, because everyone just feels really icky after it anyway. Both generally both the seller and the receiver tend to feel some sort of ickiness afterwards.
That's right. And even maybe if you were interested in that product, you probably wouldn't buy it because of the way that it came across to you.
So if you had a tip, so like a taste tester for the listeners, so they can come and stalk you, what would your tip to them be?
As in what? Sorry.
Could be in photography, could be in
Oh,
coaching, could be
yeah. Okay. So
in
a photography tip. Okay.
yeah.
So a really simple one is, I know a lot of people are on social media a lot and they're wanting to do a lot of selfish, because you don't always have someone there to take your photo at these things, or when you're working. And it's really simple. It's just to get your camera up, like your phone up, as high as you can normally, and to go around 360. So just click, 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 and you move around 360. I don't know, do you do this?
No,
It's
I've never heard of it, so I'm super
okay. So I don't know what it's called, but it's basically to get your best light. So especially good when you're outside. So you might take a photo and then you go around to 360 and you get quite a few photos, but one will be the perfect light. And when you have it raised, also, you know, no double chin and nice angles. And, yeah. So if you want the perfect selfie outdoors, that's the way to get it.
Beautiful. I like that. I'm going to try that next time I'm doing. I don't even think to turn because I just go, oh, this looks like an all right background that I don't have to edit too much. We'll just stick it up and hope for the best.
Yeah.
So no.
And it can work inside too. It just depends on your light, if it's right above you. My lighting here is terrible today. Sorry about that.
Okay, so no selfies in that office right now.
Yeah, no. I should have put my lights on.
So where do we stalk you? Where do we find about you and your photography business?
Yeah, so it's Amari Photography. So Amari means strength. It has a few different names, meanings, but I just love the word Amari. So it's Amari Photography AU on Facebook, and on Instagram, Amari_photography_AU.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm still working on a website. It'll get there, but I'm not rushing it. It'll happen.
Awesome. So if you want to stalk Erin and ask her for more photography tips, you can find her in the Australian Ladies in Business group on Facebook, or you can go straight to her business page, Amari Photography, and stalk her there. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure chatting to you, and just thanks for the opportunity and all that you do in ALIBI and the Penrith group. Like, I really do appreciate it, and I really do enjoy all of those meetups.
Oh, thank you. And the group wouldn't go if I didn't have interactive members like yourself that are like, hey, you doing a podcast? I'm there. Hey, you come and do a networking meeting or a Christmas party? I'm there. So thank you so much, because without having people like you do that, then there'd be no point in doing it, really.
Yeah, it's a lovely group of people. I really enjoy it.